Today we are going to take a look at a bunch of unreleased games that you have likely never even heard of. It's taken me a very long time to find these games and information on them, so liking and commenting would mean a lot. But let's get on with it. We will start with a game people are familiar with, but with some recently discovered footage. So a quick summary for people who don't know, Battle of the Sith Lords, also codenamed Project Damage, was a Darth Maul centered video game by Red Fly Studios for the 7th console generation. The game was cancelled mostly in part to the Walt Disney Company's buyout of Lucasfilm. If the game ever did release, it would feature a descendant or clone of Darth Maul teaming up with Darth Talon and fighting against Darth Krayt and his Sith Legion, as they were going against a Sith rule of 2. Some of the game's story seems like it will be making an appearance in the new Darth Maul animated show that will be coming out next year. This new footage comes from an animator's portfolio showing off animation and weather effects that look really good for an Xbox 360 era game, and new pictures of 3D models and level layouts of Coruscant. Project Hestia was a proposed multiplayer Jedi-centric MMO for mobile phones and PC with crossplay. The footage that you are seeing is from a vertical slice demo. The game would have been more action-orientated than Knights of the Old Republic, with you pulling off moves in real time instead of turn-based, with lots of different flashy moves with the Force and a lightsaber. We have two Jedi facing off against a Temple Guardian that looks very similar to the ones you fight in Jedi Fallen Order, which is protecting a gateway which has artwork of a Mortis god, which could either be the daughter or our first canon look at the mother if this game ever did come out. The Star Wars Playmation project was going to be a physical toy/augmented reality game, combining the two in the form of wearable tech, likely some glasses and a lightsaber toy. This was planned to come out in 2016. However, the game was cancelled because the Marvel line that came out a year prior was a massive flop and was not profitable enough for Disney. So this game, along with a Frozen installment, was canned. Officially, only a poster was ever shown off, but some concept art of a Imperial hangar has been found, suggesting the line would have had featured multiple eras, not just a sequel trilogy. In 2017, a Clone Wars pitch was being proposed which would have been a 4-player online Marvel Ultimate Alliance type of game for mobile devices, where everyone played as a custom-created Jedi. The game, however, was scrapped in favour of Star Wars Rivals, which was only around for a year before it was shut down. Star Wars Shuffle Cards was going to be an augmented reality mobile game companion to the physical card game Star Wars Shuffle Cards that actually released. Placing a card in front of your phone with the app on would make the characters on the cards come to life with some interactivity. You would select which move your character would make and are able to touch the screen to block blaster bolts, for example. It is unknown if this game was in actual development, but Shuffle commissioned this demo video to be made possibly as a pitch. Star Wars Cantina was a rejected pitch by Zynga to come out on Facebook and mobile phones, and was designed to heavily compete against the company Playfish and their Restaurant City game, which was racking in a huge amount of profit every year. The game was considered for a while before being ultimately rejected. Star Wars Pac-Man was a proposed pitch by Invictus Games to Bandai Namco for a new mobile crossover game in 2015. Invictus Games had already released another Pac-Man game back in 2014 titled Pac-Man Friends, so were likely feeling pretty confident to get the green light, but that never happened. Back in 2005, Bottle Rocket Entertainment made this gameplay animatic to be used as part of a Star Wars pitch to LucasArts. It depicts a Jedi and Sith character battling it out on airspeeders on likely Coruscant. It's unknown if Bottle Rocket ever went ahead with properly creating a Star Wars pitch or not. Star Wars Galactic Conflict was going to be a Chinese free-to-play MMO Android mobile game set during the Clone Wars that was being developed by Yuzu Games. The story has a Republic and Separatists fighting over an ancient technology called the Eye of the Star that enabled even faster travel across the galaxy. The game featured over 300 weapons to choose from, 3 different classes, Jedi, Arc or Mercenary, and the ability to ride vehicles and beasts and take part in massive raid battles against popular characters from the franchise like General Grievous. The game was 100% completed on time, but Disney of China terminated the contract, which spewed a number of legal issues. The story of all is very crazy. Yuzu filed a lawsuit against Disney China, which was dismissed. Another company, Gravity, invested heavily in Yuzu Games with the thoughts that a Star Wars game would yield them massive profits. The game was cancelled, huge financial loss occurred, and multiple board members and stakeholders either got fired or left, which all compounded in the murder of Yuzu Games executive Ling Qi. An unknown top-down arena shooter that was never announced or shown off was being worked on after Star Wars Rivals shut down. The images are dating back to 2020, so this was quite a recent cancellation. I'm really a fan of the mood art, in fact it's my computer's background. It seems like in the development of the project they were deciding between using legacy characters or going with a bunch of new people. The lava planet is labelled Phobos, which would be new to Star Wars. Star Wars Outpost was a take on Zynga's Farmville, allowing players to build their own empires and would have released on Facebook and mobile. To distinguish itself from Farmville, the game would host much better graphics and details on its models, being less cartoony and having hardcore strategy elements and the ability to betray other players for resources. It was described just like Settlers of Catan or EVE Online. The game was also said to be pretty much nearly complete, and talking about the hardcore strategy elements, the game had an RTS combat system which looked to be quite fun. Star Wars Rise to Power was supposed to be a free-to-play online mobile game developed by EA exclusively for Android's Google Play Store. The game was announced in 2017 with closed alpha tests being available to the public who signed up and got accepted, with the final alpha test happening on February 16, 2018. And then after that, the Google Play Store page and EA website were both taken down with no information ever provided about what happened. The game was strategy based and set after Return of the Jedi with the war between the New Republic and the Fleeting Empire. Players would choose a faction, establish their base, and begin building a fleet of starships and engage in galactic warfare with other real people from around the world. It's kinda crazy, but to this day, no video footage of this game has ever been uploaded or leaked online. And yes, I know it was a closed alpha with NDA in place, but when has that ever stopped people? This Star Wars game was in active development between 2014 to 2015 and was a game developed for mobile, with a title that was possibly Star Wars Smuggler, being developed by Disney Interactive. This was a cross-platform multiplayer game that was reportedly going to allow users to play as a customizable character within the Star Wars universe, smuggling and trading between Facebook, tablets and even consoles. Death Star is a game with probably the smallest amount of information on it. The game is being developed for iOS and was to put players in control of the Empire's iconic hulking space station. And that is it. After LucasArts got shut down, after the Disney buyout, a developer on the game revealed it was in development. Project Hermes was a spiritual successor to Super Bombard Racing that was planned to release in 2002. The game had the same kind of cartoony bobblehead design characters, but this time round would be a third-person parkour platform racer, as said by the lead programmer Todd Daggett. It was shaping up to be a really fun game in a genre that is still untapped in the gaming market today. Remember those licensed plug-and-play games by Jakks Pacific with the really weird and slightly phallic designs? Well, at one point they were extremely popular, so much so that Jakks Pacific decided to come up with a way to monetize them even more, with the introduction of game keys. You would plug these game keys into the already bought plug-and-play machines, and it would unlock more games for you to play. 2 Star Wars game keys were 100% completed but never released after the company gave up with the game keys idea, proving to be less popular than they originally thought. One of these game keys was completely unknown until it got dumped. Those games were Catamaran Strike, Coruscant Fire Patrol, Imperial Gunner, and Escape from Cloud City. And that is all we have for today. If you did enjoy this video, please do like, comment and subscribe, especially if you want to see more Star Wars or unreleased game content, and I'll see you all next time.